Okay, through you, Mr. Chair, I confirm that it is 4:00 p.m. and we're now ready. We are now live streaming and recording. You may begin your meeting.
Okay, thank you. I see that a quorum of the committee is present, and let's begin with a reading of the land recognition statement, please.
The town of Pelham is situated on treaty land steeped in the rich history of the First Nations, such as the Ha-de-Wenderong, Haudenosaunee, and the Anishinaabe, including the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation. This territory is covered by the Upper Canada Treaties and is protected by the Dish with One Spoon Wampum Agreement. Today, many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit people from across Turtle Island live and work in Niagara. The town of Pelham stands in solidarity with all Indigenous peoples, past and present, acknowledging that our high standard of living is a result of the resources and lasting friendship of Indigenous peoples. Through you, Mr. Chair, you may proceed with your introduction.
Thank you. So we have 3 members of the committee here today. We have Colin McCann, Brenda Stan, and myself, Isaiah Bannock, joined by Jody LeGros as the Secretary-Treasurer, and also a planner, Andrew Edwards, who's here on behalf of the town as well. This is a hybrid hearing of the Committee of Adjustment for the Town of Pelham. Everyone present and viewing at home via live stream will be given an opportunity to comment on the applications being heard. Agencies commenting on applications may request that certain conditions be imposed should an application be approved. Voicing objections to these conditions will not adversely affect the committee's decision. The purpose of the application and relative correspondence will be heard, following which the applicant will be given the opportunity to address the application. During the public portion of each application, we will hear from anyone wishing to submit verbal comments or submit a written comment via email to clerks@pelham.ca. Comments received following the public portion will not be considered. At the conclusion of the discussion, the committee will render a decision and advise of any applicable conditions. Specific wording for conditions may be determined by the committee following the hearing. Copies of decisions will be mailed to the applicant and agent and members of the public that have submitted comments. Notices of decision can also be obtained by request to the Secretary-Treasurer. Committee members are asked to raise your hand if you would like to speak and vote. Applicants, agents, and attendees are advised that they're free to leave the webinar hearing once a decision has been made on their application. You're also free to leave the room as well. Just a question actually for the Secretary-Treasurer. How are copies of decisions being mailed right now when they can't be mailed through the regular mail?
Through you, Mr. Chair. We are normally for notice of decision, we normally have everyone's email address, so it goes by email. Other than that, we are hand delivering other notices if it's required.
I see. Thank you for that clarification. So anyone in the room or listening online that would like notice, please email. I provided the email earlier. It's clerks@pelham.ca. So if you require notice, given the strike happening right now with mail, please email clerks@pelham.ca so that you receive notice. Okay, let's move to the agenda itself. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion to approve the agenda.
And seconded.
Okay, thank you. Next item is pecuniary interest. Do any members of this panel have a pecuniary interest in accordance with the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act in any of the applications to be considered at this hearing?
I have none.
And I have none as well.
And none from me either. Okay, any requests for withdrawals or adjournment, Ms. LeGros?
There have not been any requests for withdrawal or adjournment.
Okay, thank you. All right, we're ready to move to the first application. The first one on our agenda today is A38, which is 2828 Beamer Street. Sorry, we usually start with a presentation just from the committee, and then you'll be invited to come up and speak on behalf of the applicant. Thank you.
So for Committee of Adjustment hearings, the Town of Pelham is holding a hybrid Committee of Adjustment hearing. A hybrid hearing involves a mixture of in-person and remote attendance and participation. The following presentations are based upon the Town of Pelham's Planning Department report and analysis. Please note that no decisions have been made prior to this public hearing. All comments received from commenting agencies and the public have been forwarded in full to the Committee of Adjustment members for their consideration and will appear summarized on the slides to follow. The Committee of Adjustment is a formal public hearing requiring decorum, meaning all comments are made through the chair. If you have pre-registered to speak virtually or are participating in person, you'll be given an opportunity to address the committee at the public portion of the meeting. If someone ahead of you has made the same comments that you wish to make, there is no need to repeat them. Please keep all comments concise. If you are live streaming and wish to submit a comment live, please email clerks@pelham.ca. Please note that all comments must be received during the public portion of the meeting, otherwise they will not be considered. Inappropriate comments will not be tolerated. If decorum is lost, the meeting may be recessed and persons will be asked to leave. We'll now proceed with our first presentation. File A38, 2024 for 2828 Beamer Street. Based on the analysis, staff is of the opinion that the variance is, my apologies. Excerpts from the planning report include the subject land is located on the west side of Beamer Street, lying south of Spring Creek Road, being Part Lot 18, Concession 1, municipally known as 2828 Beamer Street. The application seeks relief from Section 3.2.1A, agricultural-related uses, to permit an agricultural-related use within the primary dwelling and not in conjunction with an operational farm. Whereas the bylaw requires the use to be conducted entirely within a detached accessory building in conjunction with an operational farm. Sorry, we'll just share this presentation. Section 3.2.1C, agricultural-related uses, to permit a maximum floor area of 38 square meters or 16.67% for ancillary retail commercial sales and service activities, whereas the bylaw permits ancillary retail commercial sales and service activities be limited to the lesser of 50 square meters or a maximum of 10% of the gross floor area of the building. And number 3, section 3.2.1F, agricultural-related uses, to permit an agricultural-related use on a property with a minimum lot frontage of 102 meters, whereas the bylaw requires a minimum lot frontage of 150 meters. To date, the following comments have been received. Relating to both building and planning, they ask that you see the conditions, and no public comments were received at the time of writing this report. Minor variance test 1, the variance is minor in nature. Section 3.2.1A, agricultural-related uses, yes. As the scale and use of the agricultural-related use is appropriate for the site and remains secondary to the primary rural residential use of the property, both visually and functionally. Section 3.2.1C, yes. As the scale and use of the agricultural-related use is appropriate for the site and will make use of a portion of the existing dwelling without the need for the construction of new purpose-built retail space. Section 3.2.1F, yes. As the proposed retail use is of a small scale and is not anticipated to significantly alter the character of the area. Test 2 is the variance desirable for the development or use of land. Section 3.2.1A, agricultural related use in conjunction with an operational farm and located in an accessory structure. Yes, the retail operation will support agriculture by selling local agricultural products. Section 3.2.1C, floor area. Yes, it will facilitate the use of a portion of an existing structure and will contribute to the larger goal of supporting agricultural uses. Section 3.2.1F, frontage. Yes, it will facilitate the use of an existing lot which is compatible with surrounding land uses. Test 3, does the variance maintain the general intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw? Section 3.2.1A, in conjunction with an operational farm and located in an accessory structure? Yes. The intent of the provision requiring an agricultural related use to be in conjunction with an operational farm is to encourage agricultural related business to directly support working farms of the site. Section 3.2.1C for floor area. Yes. The intent and purpose of the provision is to preserve agricultural land by preventing overdevelopment of agricultural lands and ensuring land remains available for agricultural use. Section 3.2.1F, frontage. Yes. The intent of the minimum front provision is to ensure the property is sufficient in area to support the use. Test 4, does the variance maintain the general intent and purpose of the official plan? Yes. Agricultural related uses have been introduced as permitted use in the town's official plan, allowing for an opportunity for farmers to generate additional revenue while balancing farmland preservation. Based on the analysis, staff is of the opinion the variance is minor in nature, conforms to the general policies and intent of both the official plan and the zoning bylaw, and is appropriate for the development and use of the land. Planning staff recommend that application number A38 2024P be approved, subject to the following conditions: that the applicant enter into a site plan agreement with the town of Pelham to the satisfaction of the Director of Community Planning and Development, and that all necessary building permits are obtained to the satisfaction of the chief building official. Through you, Mr. Chair, we do have the applicant's agents are here with us today, Dorothy Young and Terrence Glover.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and members of the committee. My name is Dorothy Young, and I'm a planner and development coordinator at Urban in Mind, representing the owners of 2828 Weimer Street and the minor variance application. The subject property is located along the northern limits of the town of Pelham, bordering the town of Lincoln. The property is approximately 1.2 hectares in lot area, which is not sufficient for a large-scale agricultural operation, and as such, this application proposes a new use that will support the agricultural economy by requesting permissions related to agriculture-related retail uses. The Ontario Ministry of Agriculture, Food and Rural Affairs Guidelines, Publication 851, was developed under the 2020 Provincial Policy Statement. An updated version has not been published to reflect the 2024 Provincial Planning Statement, so the Publication 851 will remain as the currently relevant publication. The proposed use meets the qualifying traits of an agriculture-related uses as per planning interpretation and is therefore permitted on the property. Under the Niagara Region Official Plan, the property is designated as Specialty Crop Area. The property is not large enough to accommodate large-scale farming operations. However, there is sufficient space on the property for a small agriculture-related operation, which will help facilitate a strong, diverse, and resilient agricultural local economy, contributing to one of the main objectives of the Region Official Plan. The subject property is designated as specialty agriculture under the Town of Pelham Official Plan. Agriculture-related uses are permitted under the official plan. Agriculture-related uses may include farm-related commercial uses, which the current application proposes. Agricultural-related uses are also characterized by supporting agriculture and benefiting from being in close proximity to farming operations. This will mutually benefit all, as the local community within Pelham and Lincoln will have access to these products, which will contribute positively to the local economy. The subject property is split zoned as Specialty Agriculture and Environmental Protection 1. Majority of the property is specialty agriculture, and the proposed use will be contained within the existing dwelling, which is located in the specialty agriculture zone. This zone permits agriculture-related uses that are within a detached accessory building and operating in conjunction with a farm. It also permits ancillary retail and commercial sales in accordance with the lesser of 10% of the gross floor area, or 50 square meters. The current application seeks permissions for an agricultural-related use in an existing room with an area of 38 square meters, which is within the existing residential building. And no new development or site alteration is being proposed, and all agricultural-related uses will be conducted within the existing building. The only alterations that are anticipated are limited to minor interior changes for the purpose of customizing the space to fit the needs of the agriculture-related store. And while agricultural-related uses are permitted as of right, the proposal requires 3 variances in order to facilitate the small retail store. The first variance is necessary as the proposed retail store is to be located within the existing house, which is the primary building, and it will not operate in conjunction with an on-site farm. The property does not have sufficient lot area to accommodate an operational farm, so the agriculture-related use cannot be operating in conjunction with an on-site farm. The property owner would also like to be sure that there is a need for additional space external to the existing home before going through the process and spending the funds on building a new structure. For these reasons, the requested variance is desirable and appropriate for the use. It is also minor in nature, as it is a permitted use, and the variance speaks to the location of the use on the property. The second variance is to permit 38 square meters of agriculture-related space, and as this is the size of an existing room inside the house. This variance is minor in nature, as the requested area is less than the 50 square meter threshold, and it would be more efficient as the owners would be repurposing an existing room in their house for the agricultural-related retail use. And this is appropriate and desirable as it allows the internal renovations to remain at a minimum to accommodate the uses, and no alterations to the site is being proposed, meaning that the proposed variance will not impact the site or the surrounding area. And the third variance requests a reduced frontage of 102 meters, whereas the zoning bylaw requires 150 meters for agriculture-related uses. This variance is necessary as it is a technical variance that legally recognizes an existing condition, and it is minor in nature as nothing will physically change as a result of this variance, and it is appropriate and desirable as it physically cannot and legally cannot be accommodated. All requested variances maintain the general intents and purposes of the official plan and zoning bylaw, as the agricultural land is protected from non-agricultural uses and instead introduces an agricultural-related use beyond its current residential use. And for these reasons, the proposed variances meet all 4 tests of a minor variance. And just to reiterate the purpose of this application, there's an opportunity on an existing residential lot where agriculture-related activities can take place and significantly help the local agricultural economy and become an asset to the surrounding community. Thank you all for your time.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Young. Any questions from the committee to the presenter? I don't have any questions either. It was very helpful to understand some of the details I didn't appreciate. So thank you. Do we have anyone in the room that would like to speak to this matter? Doesn't look like it. Okay. Is there anyone who has registered online?
Through you, Mr. Chair, we do not have any pre-registered speakers.
Okay. Should we, or anything received by email? Any comments received by email?
Give me one moment. Through you, Mr. Chair, I can confirm it is 4:21 PM, and we have received no emails, and therefore I would be looking for a motion to close the public portion of the meeting and move to committee input.
Motion to close the public meeting?
Seconded.
Okay, thanks, Ms. Young. We're going to, any debate or any comments or questions on this application?
No, I can do the motion if you'd like.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, so file 38, 2024P, 2820 Beamer Street in Town of Pelham. Applications are made for minor variance of agricultural-related use within the primary dwelling and not in conjunction with an operation farm. Maximum floor area of 38 square meters or 16.67% for ancillary retail, commercial sales and service activities. Agricultural-related use on a property with a minimum lot frontage of 102 meters. The application is granted. The variances are minor in nature as the scale and use is appropriate for the site and remains secondary to the primary rural residential use of the property, both visually and functionally. The use of the agriculture-related use will make use of a portion of the existing dwelling without the need for the construction of new purpose-built retail space. The proposed retail use is of small scale and not anticipated to significantly alter the character of the area. The intent of the zoning bylaw is maintained. The intent of the official plan is maintained. The proposal is desired for the lands as the retail operation will support agriculture. By selling local agricultural products, it will facilitate the use of a portion of an existing structure and will contribute to the larger goal of supporting agricultural uses. It will also facilitate the use on an existing lot which is compatible with the surrounding land uses. This application is granted without prejudice to any other applications in the town of Pelham. The Committee of Adjustment considered the written and oral comments and agrees with the minor variance report analysis and recommendation that this application meets the Planning Act test for minor variance. And there's two conditions: that the applicant enter into a site plan agreement with the town of Pelham to the satisfaction of the Director of Community Planning and Development, and that all necessary building permits are obtained to the satisfaction of the chief building official.
And I will second that motion.
Okay, so that's carried. So that concludes the matter. Variances are carried. We will move on to the second matter on Gardner Avenue. Ms. LeGros, you can take it away with the presentation, please.
Thank you. Okay, so file number A5, 2023P, 1113 Garner Avenue. Excerpts from the planning report. The subject land is located on the east side of Garner Avenue, lying north of Welland Road, being Lot 16, part of Lot 13, 14, and 17 on Plan 703 in the town of Pelham, municipally known as 1113 Garner Avenue. The application seeks relief from Section 3.1G, accessory uses, buildings, and structures, and Section 3.29.1B9, urban areas, to permit a minimum setback of 0.29 meters for an accessory structure, whereas the bylaw requires accessory buildings and structures not attached to the main building to be located not less than 1 meter from an interior side or rear yard lot line. To date, the following comments have been received. For the building division, they ask that you see the conditions. Public Works, only one service per lot shall be permitted. Any servicing for the proposed dwelling shall be from the existing service on private property. If any modifications to the existing driveway are needed, the applicant must obtain a driveway access and culvert permit from the town. Public comments received. There has been one public comment received and summarized as follows. They have expressed concern with the property line as shown and concern with potential changes to the roof structure and impacts on drainage, and expressed concern with impacts to drainage swell and potential flooding issues. However, does not object to the conversion of the building in principle. Minor variance test 1. The variance is minor in nature. Yes, as it is not anticipated to result in a negative impact on the adjacent uses, drainage, streetscape, or substantially remove amenity space on the lot. Test 2, is the variance desirable for the development or use of land? Yes, it is compatible with the existing dwelling and the built form of the area and will recognize an existing deficiency and bring the existing structure into conformity with the town's zoning bylaw. Test 3, does the variance maintain the general intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw? Yes. The interior side yard setback is intended to maintain access to side yards, provide adequate distance between dwellings, and to provide adequate space for drainage. The property maintains a large side yard setback on the northern portion of the site. The requested side yard setback to the southern property line is existing. The requested setback provides sufficient space for aesthetic and functional design for the front and side yards and maintains drainage along the side yard. Test 4, does the variance maintain the general intent and purpose of the official plan? Yes. The proposal is generally consistent in built form, scale, and massing with existing development and character of the area. Based on the analysis, staff is of the opinion the variance is minor in nature, conforms to the general policies and intent of both the official plan and zoning bylaw, and is appropriate for the development and use of the land. Planning staff recommend that application number A5 2023 be approved, subject to the following conditions: that the applicant apply for and receive approval for a building permit for the proposed conversion of the accessory structure. And through you, Mr. Chair, the applicants, Mr. and Mrs. Jarrett, are with us today.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone here wish to speak? You don't have to, but you're welcome to speak to the application if you'd like. No? Seeing head nods, no? Okay. All right. Is there anyone else in the room who would like to speak to this? Doesn't look like it. Okay, anyone who's registered online?
We do not have any pre-registered speakers. No.
Okay, any emails then?
Okay. Mr. Chair, I can confirm it is 4:29 p.m. and we have received no emails, and therefore I will be looking for a motion to close the public portion of the meeting and move to committee input.
I move we close the public portion of the meeting.
And I second the motion.
Okay, so that's closed. Any comments, questions, or debate, I should say, comments or about the application?
Through you, Mr. Chair, just in reading the one public comment we received, and I'm looking at town staff when I asked this, there seems to be some confusion about, and I read this, when I read the key phrase being a legal non-complying structure. So we're not changing any of this building. The building has existed as such, as I read this, since 1920. And it seems to be some confusion, at least when I read the one public letter that we received.
Through the chair, that's correct. The reference to the legal non-conforming use just is in reference to the setback, and that isn't proposed to change through the application. It's just because the use is changing, that's what's triggering the compliance with the zoning bylaw, and therefore the need to request the reduced setback.
Okay, thank you. And is the town aware of any existing drainage issues that, that are going on between these two properties?
Through you, Mr. Chair, we are not aware of any drainage issues there. Andrew was saying, the building has existed for almost like 100 years, and we have any historical data that or any issues that we've received in the past.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. Those are my questions.
Thank you, Mr. McCann. Ms. Dan, any questions or comments?
No, I have no further questions. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for your questions. Yeah, the existing use and then the question about the setback tripped me up a little bit. And at one point, I had to look at a different section of the Planning Act, and then ultimately came around to understanding, thanks to Mr. Edwards' report on this. So I have no concern supporting the variances. I think that it's an existing condition, but for the fact that the use is changing, they wouldn't require a variance. That the only reason for the variance, to reiterate what Mr. Edwards said, is because they're seeking a new use, which is a permitted use of a second dwelling. So I don't see any impacts from this, and I think therefore and when I went through the 4 tests, I could see how it satisfied the tests for the reason that town staff indicated. So I'm happy to support it on that basis. Is there a motion?
I will make this motion. File A5 2023P 1113 Garner Avenue in Pelham. An application for the minor variance of a minimum interior side yard setback of 0.29 meters. I move this application be granted for the following reasons. 1, the variance is minor in nature as it is not anticipated to result in a negative impact on the adjacent uses, drainage, streetscape, or substantially remove amenity space on the lot. 2, the intent of the zoning bylaw is maintained. 3, the intent of the official plan is maintained. 4, the proposal is desirable for the land use as the proposed development is compatible with the existing dwelling and built form of the area, and it will recognize an existing deficiency and bring the existing structure into conformity with the town's zoning bylaw. 5, this application is granted without prejudice to any other application in the town of Pelham. In making this motion, this committee has considered the written and oral agreements and agrees with the minor variance report analysis and recommendation that this application meets the Planning Act tests for a minor variance. There is one condition, that the applicant applies for and receives approval for a building permit for the proposed conversion of the accessory structure.
And I second the motion.
Okay, so that's carried. The variances are approved. I think we have minutes to run through. There's minutes of October 7th, November 4th. Is there a motion to approve those minutes?
I move we accept both those minutes.
And I second the motion.
Okay. Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
Seconded.
Okay, thank you.